Brett Veach is joining us now. Sit down.
Hey, Brett.
Hello, Brett. How are you, man?
Good.
Hey,
Good
Brett.
to see you.
How are you?
Yeah, doing great.
Sorry we're being rude and didn't stand up. Probably should have stood up to shake your hand.
That's okay. When you get your tails kicked in the Super Bowl, you can sit. Now, had we won the Super Bowl,
We had to get
I would
up.
have expected you guys to stand, but
When were you able to make that joke, Brett? I can't imagine it was the day after the Super Bowl.
I need like 3 days, and then I'm
Oh,
good.
that's good. Yeah, okay.
3 days I didn't talk to anybody. I put my phone on silence, but you got to move on. And the one thing, being on the other side of it, when you win a Super Bowl, you think it lasts forever in regards to the feeling, but once you get to training camp, like no one remembers anymore, and you got to perform week in and week out, and so now we're on that other end of it, and so I want to move on sooner than later, and so there was 3 or 4 days where I didn't talk to anybody, but excited to be back here, and I think anything great in life you learn from losing, so hopefully this will be another part in that process.
What'd you learn? We just had Andy Reid up here talking about that. I think that is a nice thing to say, right? I learned from the loss. What did you learn?
Well, I mean, to consistently play and be the team we want to be, I mean, we always got to put our quarterback in the best position, and so I would say that maybe in many ways it just kind of hammered down the things maybe we already knew and put a little bit more urgency and intensity on that. And I think every offseason that we've been here, we've always invested in the offensive line, defensive line, and this will be no different this offseason. We'll have some challenges to work, and always want to make sure that we're protecting our quarterback and giving him weapons to work with. And to do that at the highest level possible is a task that we have every offseason.
Yeah, you're reading my script because I asked Andy this question. He said it was a question for you, and basically it was the offensive line feels like there have some issues that need to be addressed on the left side. You've tried to draft. I know Wanya Morris was hurt last year. Kingsley was a young player. And I just go back to the draft class, the Trent McDuffie draft class. Every single pick was a home run. Does this one start with the offensive line, or is that an issue where free agency, you have to do the math as we get through this process here?
Yeah, I mean, every offseason has its unique challenges, and it'll be interesting because I don't know if the numbers are there in the draft as they were last year. It seems like this is a really defensive sided draft. I mean, there are a lot of numbers on the defensive line, defensive tackle, defensive end. I think the corner class is good. I think the linebacker is kind of where it is, maybe a tick higher. On the offensive side, I think the numbers are lower. So I think this will require maybe a little bit more creativity than years past to find a solution. But I mean, that's obviously why we're here on both ends, on the pro side and meeting with our agents, and then on the college side. I mean, we do have a smaller number of tackles right now in that higher first round category, but every year there's always a pack of players that move themselves up into that discussion.
Right.
And so that too is also part of the process.
You have two free agents that seem like priority on one side of the ball: Trey Smith, a guard, and Nick Bolton, a linebacker. Their franchise tag numbers are kind of high and skewed because of the way they kind of gauge that. Does that make it really tough on you to maybe do something with them?
Yeah, they're both unique because, I mean, the 34 backers, I guess, get tagged in with Nick, and then the tackles with Trey. But, again, another element to the uniqueness of the challenge. But both are outstanding players, and more importantly, I mean, just outstanding leaders in the locker room. And blessed that we've had them for the 4 years. And needless to say, I mean, we're going to have conversations, and I think it will be a priority to get both back. There'll be challenges because of where we are with our roster, and but I do feel like there is a scenario that both guys can be back, and I think it'll be at the top of our list, as you mentioned, Pete. I mean, those are the top guys on offense and defense, and we'll have extensive dialogue, and hopefully we can figure something out.
Is that a realistic scenario? Like, truth be told,
I think it's in play. I mean, I don't know if anything is. I mean, every time you have an offseason plan, I don't know if anybody's offseason plan is ultimately like, unless you have one guy that you want. I think everybody has a combination of different things they want to accomplish. So I think you just go in there and it's contingency plan after contingency plan. So you're going to have, okay, we want to get these guys done, and then it works like a flow chart. Yep. You're going to have other scenarios, but we're going to go in and hopefully we can figure something out with Trey and with Nick, and we'll have backup plans. And we also feel that there'll be pockets of players in the draft that can address those needs. And so between our backup plans on both sides of the football and the draft, we'll have enough good players out there. It's just our job to find them and add them to our roster.
How about your Hall of Fame tight end,
Yeah.
Travis Kelce? Obviously contemplating what's next for him.
By the way, JJ, we have 45 seconds, so you get up easy on this one, Brett.
Yeah, we have 45 seconds here. What do you need to know in the next couple weeks from now?
I don't know if we need to know anything. I don't know what Coach said. I mean, we're operating this offseason as if he's coming back, and if something changes, we'll deal with it. But I don't think there's any timeline on our end. And again, I think the way we left it, that he'll be back, and look forward to having him back and hopefully having a better end to the season than last year's.
All right, we have 30 seconds here. Anything else you want to ask Brett? One last thing?
It's a very...
I'll ask you this quickly because I was incredibly impressed. How impressive was Joe Thuney's ability to kick outside and do what he did the last month or so of the season, given that he hadn't done it in a while?
Yeah, I mean, the guy really, and, going back to it, I remember when we signed him as a free agent, one of the things we loved about him is his ability to play center, too. I mean, so you talk about a guy that, can play all across the board, but just a great person, always has a smile on his face, and always is excited for a new challenge. Didn't surprise us, and again, he was playing out of position, and everyone sees some of the struggles in the Super Bowl. But
awesome.
If you look at the games prior to that, he got us out of a sticky situation there, and probably wouldn't have been there without him.